It has been a turbulent few months at electric truck maker Nikola, but the company's new CEO, Mark Russell, is in fact promising better days ahead. And he joins us now. Mark Russell, good to see you on Yahoo Finance Live this morning. Listen, a lot of folks I've talked to in the street this morning, they're giving you a high marks for the conference call you had last night. Lots of details on development timelines and battery technology, but I'm also getting a lot of questions on some subpoenas inside of the 10Q. 5 officers received subpoenas from the SEC. 3 more got them on September 21st. Can you share with us what the SEC is exactly looking for here?
Well, no company would comment on ongoing SEC matters, so we're cooperating with them and doing everything we can to help them in their work. But we don't comment on an ongoing SEC matter.
Fair enough. Should investors be concerned about these subpoenas?
We're very focused on our milestones going forward. At the break before we came in, we were talking about the trucks that we have being completed in Ulm, Germany. The first one of which has gone on the track and it's been on the dyno. It's very exciting. We think that's going to be a groundbreaking truck that the world is going to love, and it's going to help us go to zero emissions.
And you're right, you're important. Before we came on, we were talking about that new semi truck. You put a picture of it in the earnings release. Take us through that. So it is up and running. I know there was some concerns coming off the Hindenburg report on what you actually have in terms of trucks that move. So you're saying this runs, and when might that be available to customers?
So we have a number of trucks that run. We have a couple of hydrogen fuel cell prototypes that have been running for more than a year on test tracks and on test runs. We actually haul beer for Anheuser-Busch on public roads with that truck. With one of those prototypes. This will be the first prototype, however, the one that's on the track in Germany. That's the first prototype of the Nikola Tre, which is our new battery electric vehicle that will go into production next year. So we got 5 prototypes coming into completion right now, and they will go on the track for testing and then later road testing. And then we'll have another batch of prototypes, and that truck goes into production next year.
What about the battery technology, Mark? There are also some concerns raised on the report on what IP in terms of battery technology Nikola does in fact have. What do you own and what don't you own?
Well, we use the same basic cells as pretty much everybody does. There's only 4 or 5 major producers of battery cells, particularly cylindrical cells in the world. And pretty much every battery in a vehicle uses one of those. And even if you're using a different format, it's often from those same suppliers. There's really a small concentration of global suppliers of battery cells. Those are put into battery packs, or usually into a module that's then assembled into a pack. So what most people own if they're doing batteries for a vehicle is the pack. And that's what Nikola has. We've designed our pack. It's proprietary to us, but it uses a module from a company called Romeo, and when we use cylindrical cells in those modules that come from suppliers in Korea.
And, Mark, I want to ask about thinking about the roadmap, and you kind of outlined when you think you'll have some products ready, and you look at how much cash you have on the balance sheet, how much you're burning each quarter, and just think about the stock and the ownership base that you have now. I mean, it's been a crazy year for shares of Nikola. It was an $80 stock at one point. How has that changed, if at all, the way that the management team has thought about charting out the next couple of years? Because I mean, everyone says it's not distracting, but certainly what was happening with the stock price at some point had to be taken notice by folks who are trying to just kind of do their jobs and execute.
Well, I preach not to focus on the stock price day to day, and our focus is on our long-term shareholders. We're really grateful to have a core base of long-term shareholders that came in the transaction where we went public. People that are long-term holders. We have Norges, we have BlackRock, we have Fidelity, people like that are looking at our business plan for the long term and investing for the long term. We're focused on that long term. We're focused on the milestones that we have laid out there, getting this Tre on the road, getting it in customer hands next year, following that up with the fuel cell truck in 2023 and the stations to fuel the fuel cell trucks by 2023, 2022. So we believe as we execute on those milestones that we're going to reward our shareholders, and particularly our long-term shareholders, which we're very grateful for.
Mark, let's talk about another one of your potential long-term shareholders. I'm talking, of course, about General Motors and the agreement that is still not closed, the partnership that's still not closed between your two companies. What does the closing of that hinge upon at this point?
A successful conclusion of those discussions, which are ongoing. And when we have something to report about the conclusion of those discussions, we'll let you know for sure.
Mark, on the earnings call, it was mentioned that you ended the quarter with over 900 million in cash, but it sounded, at least to me, you are exploring a capital raise next year. When do you think you might need more capital for markets, and would it be an equity raise?
So we have said in our investor materials for some time, most of the year actually, that we would do one more capital raise that would involve an equity raise, and that would be sometime in the next 18-month time frame, and that we would do that opportunistically based on market conditions. So we stand by that. That's going to be our plan. We will plan to go back to the market for one more tranche of equity, and we'll do that when the conditions are best for that.
And Mark, real quickly before I let you go, just back to what Julie mentioned on GM. Are you prepared to go it alone if GM doesn't go through with the deal?
Absolutely. That was our base plan before we had the GM discussions. We have a fuel cell program that we've been working on with Bosch for a number of years. And we obviously have a battery program that I've just described to you that we're going into production with on our battery electric vehicles. That'll be our base plan. Would love to have access to GM's Ultium battery and their Hydrotech fuel cell systems, both of which are outstanding technology with a lot of potential and promise. But if we don't have those, we have a base plan, and we can go to market on our own if we have to.